All right, I hope everybody enjoyed that Final Fantasy VII run as much as I did of Crisis Core. That was so much fun. Wow, he really smashed it, didn't he? We have 3 more runs to round out our second day. We've got Cow the Kangaroo, round 2, any percent, coming up next. So get ready for that. And then right after that, we have The Curse of Monkey Island, any percent Mega Monkey by Count Gooby. And this one has a special treat in there. We had our $150 target that y'all met yesterday for singing the Pirate Cruise song. You met that incentive. Thank you all so much. There's basically a skippable song where your pirate crew sings about being pirates halfway through the run. We're not going to skip that song. Y'all raise 150 Canadian dollars for it. So we're not going to skip it. We're going to get that song. Make sure you don't want to miss that. Curse of Monkey Island coming up right after our next run of Cow the Kangaroo. And then rounding out our final run for day 2 is going to be Resident Evil 3 by Sirius Surly, who was just our wonderful commentator on our run that we just had of Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII. He was our commentator there. Sirius Surly is going to be doing Resident Evil 3. And a reminder to everybody that we do still have a poll open for that. If you'd like to donate towards that poll, an update for you, we have Disco currently in the lead. You can choose the outfit for Resident Evil 3. Disco is currently in the lead, followed by Stars, and then Biker is in 3rd place. Another couple of options we have are Casual and Elegant. And a reminder to everybody as well that this Tiltify campaign is in Canadian dollars. So if anyone happens to be watching from the United States, due to the exchange rate, every Canadian dollar you donate, you're actually only spending about 73 cents in US dollars. So stick with me for a bit of math here. If you were to donate 5 Canadian dollars, that would be about $3.66 in US dollars. So your money is going maybe a little bit farther than you might think. So, and chat, I don't know, if your local currency is not Canadian dollars or US dollars, let me know. I will try to get back to you on that exchange rate. And that's actually it for my time as host with you all. I will be passing the metaphorical mic over to the wonderful human being Echo Tree, who will be hosting our next batch of games. So have a great time, everybody. Thank you all so much for your support, and don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with some more amazing speedruns benefiting community.
And thank you, Pacific. Hello, everyone. I am Echo Tree. I will be your host for the rest of the evening tonight. I'm so excited for our next run, Cow the Kangaroo Round 2 by Riz Grestar. That'll be coming up in just a little bit here while they finish setting up. After that, we will have The Curse of Monkey Island, any percent Mega Monkey by Count Gooby. And to close out the night, we will have Resident Evil 3 Light Mode by Seriously Surly. So stay with us and we'll be right back. All right, everyone, we are ready for our next run here. I have Riz Grestar with KO the Kangaroo round 2. Take it away.
All right, hello everyone. I'm Riz Grestar, and this is indeed KO the Kangaroo round 2, and we are going to get right into it. So I'm going to give a countdown of 3, 2, 1, go, and then I'm going to press Neues Spiel. So 3, 2, 1, go. So yes, this is KO the Kangaroo round 2, or I believe that it can also be, like, depending on the localization, it can be KO the Kangaroo as well. So that was definitely not incorrect. And this has been a really interesting game to try to learn to speedrun. I'm not used to playing a lot of these kinds of platform-intensive games. And while I know that it is very different both in terms of like story and graphics and execution and everything, like the tricks involved, when I explain it to my friends, I like to refer to it as like similar to Super Mario, like 64, because they just tend to be much more familiar with that. But the basic story of this game is that Poacher Hunter dude, he has all of these animal friends captured, and so KO the Kangaroo here has to go on a quest to earn enough money, basically, to board the ship so that he can beat them up, not his friends, the poacher, to free his friends. So, immediately just jumping right into it, you know, we have no time for formalities, we've got to go earn enough money to get our buddies back. So, we're gonna be doing our best here to pull off whatever tricks I have managed to learn over the course of this period of time. And it's one of those things where, despite how much I might have practiced, like I'll grind a specific trick for hours a day, and I'll get it consistently, and then immediately fail it in my next attempt, that kind of thing. So I expect a lot of these tricks to either be a first try thing, or like it takes 3 minutes kind of thing. We're always going to be hoping, of course, for the faster, but you never know. So, while I'm just doing things, because we have to keep this going, it's a pretty fast-paced game, as you might have been able to tell. I'll talk a little bit about some of the basic tech that's going to be used in this run. Already you've seen the main movement is we're going to be doing this roll, cancel out of it with a jump, and then like kind of cancel that with this tail sweep. There's also that little butt pound that we use, the ground pound, in order to press buttons or, you know, defeat some enemies along the way. And the tail swing, aside from just being used to help with this basic movement, also extends our jump. So we're going to be using that from time to time in order to get just a little bit farther. But these are the coins that we're going to get along the way. In order to actually beat the game, we need to earn 3,000. But there are 2 parts of this game where, I'll grab this star, where 1,000 each is guaranteed. So 2 parts where you get 1,000, guaranteed. So aside from those, we really just need to earn 1,000 ourselves. And they'll be gotten along the way. We just kind of have to sometimes be just a little bit slower to make sure that we gather a coin or 2. This guy's not being friendly. But yeah, for the most part, it's pretty convenient. You usually don't end up short. This is one of the first tricks that usually trips me up. We have to jump here, tail swing in a specific spot, and kind of wedge ourselves in this corner. So let's see if I get it. Okay, I didn't even... Did I get stuck? I have to get out of this corner now. There we go. Okay. So we skipped basically going into the mill and just doing some other things. Got the jump up here. Phew. I'm pretty sure it is possible to actually get stuck in that moment, so I'm glad that it was recoverable, even if it did look a little bit silly. Something I was going to mention, though, was after beating some enemies, well, enemies, period, you'll see that they drop stars. We really only care about those to an extent in this run. We want 50 stars, but then beyond that, we really don't care. If we could get more faster, then that could be cool. It would open up like a lot more pathways. But for now, our goal is just 50 before a certain mission, because it'll unlock the ability to glide, but we can talk about that a lot more once we get there. This little bit, there's no trick to it. It's just a horrible, terrible part that I hate. You're just riding this badger and you're trying to guide all the little baby badgers into these holes. And so, you know, they just kind of run away from the mama. But I cannot find a consistency to it. Or I've had ways where it's like, surely there's nowhere for them to escape. They just have to go in the hole and they find a way, you know? It's like nature. But right there, like, he turned around instead. But if we can get him into this one, deliver this last one, and there we go, everyone's happy. Another thing you might have noticed is that this game is in German. It didn't have to be. I chose it to be. Different languages, you know, are a little faster than other languages, just based upon the cutscenes, you know, when characters are talking. So I picked it German in part for that, and in part because I think some of the lines are just fun, like this. I just think that bee's cute. So here, we have to run away from this giant bear. We grab this purple thing and we start hopping. You know, pretty typical of a kangaroo. We see this a few times during the run, this sort of segment. And so here I just have to, I'm collecting as many of the coins along the way as I can. Because again, we're going to need to earn 1,000 of them ourselves. Or we just won't be able to progress in the story. And then I'm just dodging obstacles, jumping over pits, grabbing more purple things in order to like refill my energy, because you can see that purple energy gauge in the top right corner. And yeah, okay. That was actually one that I did not mean to jump over. And it almost got me killed, but it's okay, we're still getting away from the bear. We did lose some coins, but that's fine. That's the one you're more quote-unquote supposed to jump over, but whoops. The nice thing is, unless you get stuck on, you know, some of the geometry in here, you're most likely not going to be caught by the bear. The much bigger threat, in my opinion, is just falling into the water. Because, like, if I were to accidentally have jumped over that spring, just, you know, by seeing an obstacle and pressing jump out of habit, I just would have sailed into the water and died. Here we get our boomerangs for the first time. We can use them here, target them really quickly, attack these vines. It's just a little bit safer because otherwise they could whip out and knock you into the water. But, so you don't have to do that, but it's just a safer bet to take them out really quickly. This is a checkpoint. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. Gotta free him. We're not supposed to jump up that wall. We're supposed to, like, go all the way over there, jump up and around, but you can make it. Grabbing stars along the way where I can, as long as I don't have to go too far out of my way. Take this, because unfortunately I have died on this part, even though it's really supposed to be pretty easy. We grab this thing that falls, and we have to make these drop down to form platforms for us. I actually meant to throw straight. There we go. Grab these stars, and then we go out. The nice thing about the boomerang, obviously you can use it for combat purposes. It's a nice way to take out a lot of enemies, you know, that like might come in a group really quickly. So that, you know, we can get stars for the 50 that we're ultimately going to need. But another thing that's really nice about the boomerangs, for utility's sake, is they actually extend your jump kind of like the tail swing. And beyond that, they'll preserve your momentum as well. And so we're going to be seeing that more in a later chapter. But for now, I'm just going to try not to fall in the lava again and die. Ideally, I would be wanting to do a lot more of these, you know, roll jump tail spins just all throughout the run. But if I miss time the jump at all, I'll just be plummeting into a pit. So for the sake of, I'm going to try playing some of those, you know, more carefully than I might otherwise. But a lot of these tricks, whether I play them out carefully or not, matter of like luck. And this is an interesting mechanic. So this little dynamite guy, he'll run at you. You just have to lead him over here so he blows this up and you can jump on the spring. And that is never brought up again at any point in the story. There's never another dynamite man. So this part, I'm just going to release these two. There is a neat little trick where you can jump on this fence post here, just to the left, and then jump on the cage, and then potentially jump on that bridge, which is, you know, they knocked it down after I freed them. But every time that I manage to get up there onto the cage, the bridge always swings like out of my my jumping distance, I suppose, out of my reach. So typically, I'll just take the little bit of extra time to knock the cages down, let them free the bridge themselves. So those guys with the hammers, they have more health than a lot of the enemies that we've seen so far. They typically just die in one hit. But it brings to light an interesting way that they did the combo system in this game. Cow's basic attacks, so not his like jump tailspin, but just his other attacks. They have like a 3-hit combo. And basically, if you hit them with the last hit of the combo, it's more damage than it otherwise really should be. I'm gonna grab these boomerangs as well. So that will instantly take those guys out. Oh, those lasted longer than I thought they would. Sooner than it would be if you just got like a full combo on them normally. Hopefully don't get whacked by the tentacle. Okay, we're good. And now we're going to be bouncing along these clouds. And up ahead here, I'm going to grab that checkpoint that we could see so that I can a little more safely try a trick here. So we're gonna jump up here, roll, jump, jump, tail swing, and we made it. There was an invisible cloud, and now... Did I make it? No, I didn't quite make it. So if you make it onto that platform, which we'll try it again. Yes, okay, barely made it. So now if I go straight out here, I roll, jump, jump, boomerang. Okay, I landed on a walkway. I'm gonna try to hug the wall to my left until I can see that helmet. And there we go. So that skips a little bit. Having lost it once, I genuinely don't know how much time was saved, if any at all. But I do think that it's a neat trick. Visually, despite it being like invisible. So I wanted to show it off if I could. And second try is not bad for me because just hitting that first cloud is usually what does me in. Here we're just gonna try not to drop off of these platforms. If you linger on them for too long, they'll just fall, send you plummeting back down. It's just kind of tedious to get back up. But that all went fine. Here around this corner. On this elevator, we're just gonna jump off, jump over this spider so we don't have to deal with him and his damage. Oh, but with that combo that I mentioned, you can see that like last roundhouse kick sort of thing instantly defeated him. So if I can hit him with a tail swipe first, he's much easier to take down. Gonna aim a little bit at that. Jump, jump, boomerang, and barely make it on. And here I can jump, jump, tail, barely grab on. What you're supposed to do is throw enough of those nuts at like both of the platforms that they form basically a bridge for you. But you can throw it once and get away with just that, as long as you make a pretty precise jump. I'm actually really glad I got it that time. So here we're gonna ignore that checkpoint just because this part is easy enough. Hopefully I don't jinx myself here, but jump off the edge, boomerang at the end here just to get a little bit more distance. Then we just gotta cross this gap, and we're done with this level. And now for Flussaborts, or whatever that is in German and how you say that. I have no idea what most, if any, of these levels are actually called like in English, because almost all of my playing has been done here. So the platforming in this part is pretty simple. It's usually just dodge the fish, which usually isn't too bad as long as your timing wasn't thrown off by anything. And then you just kind of have to know that like some of these boards are going to flip and have spikes on them. It's not the worst thing if they hit you or if you hit them, but something to know. Skip that, so we're not getting a checkpoint there. We're immediately in this raft. Mines will spawn here if you don't jump over that, and sometimes they do anyway. I'm not entirely sure, honestly, what spawns them, but they're often these mines here. They can actually be pretty nasty, and I don't think it's easy, even after all this time practicing, to guide this raft along. So if we can get a smooth ride, awesome. Now, one thing that like the good runners of this game know how to do is with that raft here on this segment, they can make it so they can jump out of the raft early. If we ever see that in this attempt here, that's going to be quite fortunate because I've only, I think, done it one time. So it's a thing, or at least only one time at a specific part, which is of course the part where like you're benefited from being able to do it. I've asked people on the Discord, like, how to do it better or more consistently, and people admit that they don't really know exactly how it works. It's really just, like, when he's gonna open that, like, jump in, tail swing, like, right before landing in. So am I doing it too late? Am I doing it too early? I don't know. I varied it up. It doesn't seem to matter, so... Okay, narrowly avoided that mine. Oh, but not that one. So you can see how much damage a single explosion will do. So we really could only do that, like, one more time safely. So hopefully we won't have to deal with any more mines like that. But of course, there's still a lot along the way, so I'm just gonna try to carefully guide. The moment that you, like, bounce into something or otherwise start to, like, swerve around a lot, it becomes a lot harder to regain control. Yeah, I tried to jump out early, I'm spamming A and nothing's happening. But once it settles in, as always, as the game expects, then you can leave. So here we're jumping down, we're going to hit this switch, and then I'm going to hope the camera doesn't screw me up. Because you can see the camera flips there. It will flip in different ways. The flip is not consistent, and I don't know why. But here, let's just jump over this, land back in our raft, and move on. Hitting that switch, yeah, just made it fill with water, so now the raft can actually continue moving forward. And this is where being able to jump out would save time, because I could get up onto that, and that's where I need to go. But unfortunately, I tried pressing A, that's why the raft ended up bumping into the wall. Nothing happened. I'm gonna grab this checkpoint just to be safe, because otherwise if I die over here, that can be a lot of time wasted. Ow. And again, unfortunately, it's already, I think, over a minute wasted just not having gotten the jump out of the raft. But again, I've only been able to do that a single time. So, unfortunately, I'm not surprised it didn't work out. We have to bait out a bite from him, or at least I have to. And then once he's occupied licking his lips, we can go and climb over. Avoid this guy. Grab the health, because why not? Make our way through the dark. It is incredibly dark in this area, and I know that my computer screen is, like, darker than most for whatever reason, just from having, like, played games with friends and not being able to see the table clearly in front of me. But I'm glad that they provide at least some little bit of glow in that area, because otherwise it would be ridiculous. But the whole point of being up there is just to free him, then we can spring our way across. If we could jump out of the raft, jumping up and freeing him, you can imagine how much faster that would have been, but alas. Now he opened that gate for us, so we can continue forward. Hopefully dodge these mines. Gotta pull to the right, but not too sharply. And let's see if I got an early jump here. I did not, so I didn't get a single early jump in this raft, unfortunately. Again, only one of them, like, really super matters, but there's always the hope. That fish was very close. And I also want to hope that, yeah, I've had it happen where I'm trying to jump over those two gaps there and I hit a porcupine and it sends me flying into the water and I die. So if you can avoid that, best to. Now are supposed to follow the springs, but if you hold forward here, you can kind of just skip a couple of them. It saves like, 2 seconds or something, but yeah. And knowing those enemies are there, rolling forward will kill them, and so that's quite handy. Here, I want to take these two out as quickly as possible, so if I can tail them and then whack them, that's good. Gonna grab this other star that was here, head into here, and that level is now complete. Now we have the boss of this world, basically. So you can see at the very bottom edge of this circle, like this area has orange. That's how I know I'm in the right place. So I want to grab a boomerang real quick, head back here. And now he's vulnerable. I have to ground pound specifically one of these little areas, I don't know what to call them, one of the sections of the circle, right? That are orange. And now we throw boomerangs at him. If we time it, we can kind of get him without letting him use any attacks. So first things first is we find another orange section. And then you can count how many lightning bolts he does. The first phase is 4, this one is 5. So after one more, I'm just gonna... And there we go, he's immediately down. He doesn't get a chance to attack me that way, so it's pretty convenient. We have to throw boomerangs at these things. Once all of them are down, he comes back up, his force field goes away, and we get to attack him again. This third phase, we're gonna do 9 lightning bolts, so there's 2, 3, 4, and if you go in a circle, you're not gonna get hit by them, so it's nice. Oh, I miscounted because I was talking. Okay. The only downside is when he does those shockwaves, it can't, like if your ground pound lands on a shockwave, it just doesn't connect. And there he goes. So unfortunately, no means to skip this little cutscene here, but we're just gonna let him slowly sink into the lava. There'll be another little bit of, you know, people talking to us, but then we're gonna head into the next world. So if you have something that you want to read off, lovely host, feel free.
Absolutely. We received a $30 donation from Mr. Drake, which says 3 Speedromizer events, 3 great games / speedruns picked up along the way, and some great work helping support a very deserving cause. See you all at the next one. And that went towards the casual outfit for Resident Evil 3, which is one of our donation polls, and also towards the KH2 randomizer original submitter races the runner target. So we are getting closer on our targets for those. And as a reminder, if you would like to donate, please type !donate in chat to get the direct link to our Tiltify page. Back to you.
Thank you. I'm actually really happy how that worked out. So at the very start of this, there was a part I had to roll off of the side of a ledge and then like jump while in the air. And I got it first try. I'm so glad for that, because that's one of those tricks that either first try or it takes me 3 minutes. And usually I grab onto that ledge. Genuinely surprised it didn't. But I suppose we can only have so many good things happen within a 5-minute span, so I'll take it. But here, let's try this again. Do boomerang this time to get a little bit more distance on that. Here, instead of going over there, we're gonna try to jump this gap. Oh, and once again, usually grabs onto the ledge. I think I went a little too far to the left, a little too far to the posts, and so that's why it didn't work. Let's try it again. Oh, and that time I just didn't jump. Let's try it again. There's another way to do this involving jumping on the fence, but I find it a lot less consistent personally. But that's how it's supposed to look. Just jump, grab the fence or ledge, and then you're good to go. And up here, we're going to try a little bit of an out of bounds thing. So hopefully it goes well. There's a barrier above these fence posts, but if you do a full double jump and a tail whip, you get just high enough to get over it. So now I'm on this outside edge. You're not supposed to be here. In fact, on the inside, it's supposed to be like an ice slide. And so there's no way that you would be able to like get onto this. But from here, we can jump onto this and then jump, boomerang to extend our momentum a little bit. And now we're up here. If you can't tell from like the edge of the world, we're not supposed to be up here. We're gonna try to hug the top a little bit, so hopefully the rest of the map still loads. And then once we're up here... Well, that's never happened to me before. Let's try that all again. What was supposed to happen was more, I end up above, it's like this cave tunnel that I would be traveling through. You can see like, we'll get there again, but I'll just let you know ahead of time. You can see the sort of spiderwebby ceiling that I climbed across in a previous level. So let's just, over the edge. You can't hold too far though, because you can definitely fall down onto the end of the ice slide and that wouldn't serve us at all. So I try to just barely peek around the corner. So let's try this again. Okay, so we're back up here. That's good, because that is totally a failable part. So I'm glad that so far this has all been going well, you know, up until this point up here. So let's go further. Now we should be good. Yeah, so normally we would be like crawling along there. These blue guys would be waiting to ambush us, like fall from the ceiling. Oh, and you know, I mentioned the whole like, so things would load in. They didn't really load in the way that I expected, but I'm pretty sure that down here, yeah, things will load in anyway. There's just like a little ice wall that, like spike wall that we didn't see, but it was there. So skip the cutscene, through the boomerang just to keep our momentum. And now once we get here, all of this ice is cracking and falling away. And if we fall in the water at any point, we're just dead. So I want to be doing this like faster movement. But if I do that too recklessly, I'm just going to end up falling into a crack that suddenly appears in front of me. So not a lot of rolling this section, mostly just trying to be really careful with my jumps. The nice thing is we do get some ducats and some stars along the way, which of course is just building toward the end. Now for here we get to see more slides. As you might expect from an ice-themed level, yeah, there's going to be a lot of sliding parts here. So grab the boomerangs, jump in this barrel. We're going to hit these spiders along the way just so they don't blow our barrel up. And ideally we're not going to hit walls or anything either, but we'll see how it goes. I don't think it's possible to get through this part without being hit by a spider. At the least, I've gotten hit by one, like this one, because it does not seem possible to hit him before he can hit you, just with the way that, like, you start farther away from him and, like, the curve. But here with these guys, I want some quick stars, so I'm just gonna throw some boomerangs at them, roll into one of them, we're moving on. So I mentioned at the beginning of the last level, there was, like, a part I had to roll off of the side of a cliff, jump in the middle of the air, in order to get far enough. We have to do that again here. So let's see how long it takes me. Yeah, see, so trust me, I did hit A, but it's a little picky about when you hit A in the middle of your jump. Because it's not enough, it wouldn't be enough distance if I just like rolled and jumped at the edge. I have to roll, fall off, and then jump. And the timing can be really tricky, at least it has been for me. So I'm gonna keep throwing myself into the water until it works. And hopefully that won't be much longer, but this is one of those things again, I get first try or it takes me a few minutes, so hopefully any time now. Otherwise we would just be wanting to continue on, like forward, it would be another slide. So failing it a bunch, no, it does not save time. Oh, here we go, maybe? If I get far enough? Okay, I just made it far enough, phew, okay. So we're good, hit that switch, move on in. Crisis averted, we get to play again. And here we get to go down another ice slide. So here, they're usually not too difficult. We basically just don't want to ever fall in the water because, you know, that would mean death. So we're gonna be taking these ramps where we can just because that means items. Jump here, use a boomerang to extend our momentum so we can actually make that jump in one go. It's a really handy way to use those. And ideally, yeah, make it down unscathed, okay. Because now up here, we just have to not go to the spring on the right. That's a trick, that like resets you. And instead go down here, jump, boomerang to momentum just a little bit, like extend it. Can never seem to avoid the hit from that guy. This one's a little bit of a trap. If I went straight there, like through the boomerangs in order to get that checkpoint, I would have been hit by falling stalactites, and that's never fun. So hugging the left of the wall and then like dipping back for the checkpoint, that's the way to do it as far as I'm aware. Okay. So interestingly, at least to me, it seems like the pattern of these is random. There have been times where I have had to just wait for them to float into a path for me that I could actually take in order to get across, get to the other side. But thankfully that time, it was not the kindest I've ever experienced for sure, but it was kind enough, it let me through. The worst part about the spiders on these slidey segments is just that they make you unable to react, like if you get hit by the little thing they spit out. So if I can take them out early, you know, that's always preferable. Oh, I don't remember if I said this. This game, yeah, it has been really interesting for me to learn. I know I said this part that like, this is not my usual wheelhouse in terms of speedruns. Like I think watching them is great, but like I've just never been that good at this kind of thing. So if you like any of what you're seeing here, I highly recommend that you check out, you know, like more of the top runs on the leaderboard. Like with this part, this is what made me think of it. We're seeing these stalactites fall, like these icicles, right? fall onto the ice and like it cracks in and makes it fall into the water, right? So typically those are just hazards to be avoided. But like the really good runners of this game can take advantage of those moments where the ice has just been broken and it's no longer like, you know, like parallel to the ground. And they'll jump on that and then immediately like jump off of it and they get a speed boost of it and they use boomerangs to maintain their momentum, and like it's super cool to see because they just fly through that section. And others like it. So just with a lot of the really cool tricks and the super clean movement, if you like this, I recommend checking out the people who like have really put in the time and who are really good at this game. This part is just, you know, we have a snowy ice level in this era, and so of course there has to be like a snowboard section, right? So I'm using these rails just to get the ducats along the way. I believe technically if you play it like optimally, it's faster to not, but you kind of then lose time later because you have to get money somehow, right? So I think if I understood correctly, like IL-wise, it would be faster not to take the rails, but run-wise it is. Something like that. But ideally, we're not going to ever fall into a pit. And in this part, we're not going to miss any jumps. We're grinding this rail, and at the end of this rail, you'll see like a little patch of red. On that patch of red, we need to press A to jump. Oh, but not hold A, because then you'll immediately jump once you hit the other side. Whoops. If you jump too early, then you don't make the distance. If you jump too late, then you don't jump and you fall to your death. So, and then you just press it, not hold it. Mostly as a reminder to myself. Thankfully, every time we pass through, kind of like the, you know, if there's like a car race, there would be like the stand with the flags at the end, you know. If you pass through that kind of banner, it's a checkpoint. This thing, that's what I'm talking about. So that was the nice part about dying. Once I got into the cave, at least, like the checkpoint was right behind me, so I didn't miss much. That is a little more costly, but it's okay. Ideally, yeah, I would just get there and not have to aim my jump, but sometimes be a little more tricky to control. There we go, made that one at least. Having giant holes appear in front of you can be a little difficult to react to. Even if you like know that it's coming. Yeah. Okay, one thing that I like about this part is that I haven't tested anything else. I know you can hold down and not anything else, like not aim or anything, just hold down, and you'll make it through just fine. But I'm gonna try to aim a little bit more just to get some more of the coins along the way. I don't need all of them, but if I can get some more, because if I hold down, I kind of end up bouncing a little bit more along walls and everything. And most of the coins are along the center of this track. But I thought it was funny. And that part, you don't have to jump. Every time it comes up, I have this like tiny heart-stopping moment of thinking I'm gonna fall in the water, but you're fine. Maybe if you're at like a really extreme angle, you won't make the distance, but I've never fallen in there. And there we go. So we're almost done with the icy levels now. Ow. Here, we just want to jump up here, grab this checkpoint, and the level truly begins. Gonna take this guy out now, because otherwise he will just be a pain. Ow. Oh, and because they hit me while I was holding that, now I have to wait for it to respawn. Thank you. Throw this. This trolley comes along. We're going to jump inside of it. And we're gonna bail earlier than the game intends. It wants us to keep going like further to the right. But like once we have that kind of explosion, we can jump off to the left here and get in here instead, which is nice. Hit this switch to activate this elevator thing. Jump up here, grab that, which is not guaranteed for me. So I'm glad I grabbed it first try. And then we have another card. Kind of just abandoning everything, you know, as soon as we can. All about that progress. Now here, I want to go... Oh, I missed it. We're gonna go instead, just do it the longer way. So ideally what you can do, there's a hidden switch just to the left there. But I waited to jump out of the cart a little bit too long. And then it was closed off to me. But you'll have to take my word for it that it's neat. It really doesn't save that much time if you plan not to take it and have otherwise good movement. But it's a cool little thing. I'm gonna try not to fall into the lava, and we're not gonna take any of these little climbing segments. We're just going to jump, extend with the tail whip. Hit the switch, jump on the elevator, move on. And down here, we have... Oh, let me grab this star first. Have some more enemies that we can take out really quickly because, again, I want to make sure that I have 50. And I wouldn't need to get... Like, I did get more ahead of time just in case, because there are some that you can get on this slide. And then there are 3 guaranteed at the beginning of the level on which you need them, and that would have been early enough. But just in case anything bad happened, I wanted to, like, ensure that I would have 50, because otherwise, a lot of the strats coming up just would not work out. I think I explained it, but just in case, or just to reiterate, 50 stars gives you a new ability, where now if I jump, and then I hold A, I'll start to hover. We've seen basically what it was before in another level where I picked up a little, like a wing cap basically. It's like an under-leveled version of that. And she's just telling me that now. I have 50 stars, cool, so now I can do the thing. And now we have the boss of this area. So here, gonna grab boomerangs. And we have to just go hit each of these guys 2 times. And then they'll be knocked out. And then here he comes, the big boss himself. Not of the game, but of this area. So yeah, he's mocking me for my boomerangs. They're not gonna do anything to him. Thankfully, this conveniently rises up, so now I can shoot him with these. So I basically just have to knock him out before he knocks me out. As long as I have some health remaining, I'm going to fully heal before I'll need more, like right there. But you do have to be careful on that part, because if you take down all of his health, but he still has, you know, barrels launching toward you, they will still finish you off. So he's running off, I still have health, so I'm fine. And I grabbed more health right here. Or, okay. I mean, like, I should still be fine on health, but I thought I would have picked it up visibly. And this guy's far over here. Nice thing is they jump back into cover just for a moment and then they come right back. So not typically too difficult. Whenever he jumps around, it is a pain because it sometimes just won't register when your shots connect with him. But there he goes, he's done. Rather than admit that he's defeated, he's just gonna quietly escape. And I guess we're good to let him go. So now it is time, I believe. Yes, okay, good. To go and do the race. So this is a little bit of, this is different than the other levels, as you can probably tell. So we're racing these other people, and the prize for getting first place is 1,000 coins. So we definitely want to do that. We're wanting to get these little purple things along the way because they let us do this kind of super boost. Otherwise, if we don't have access to one of the purple things, if I press R1, it will activate something similar, but just temporary. So I have to kind of keep doing it. And what we want to do is we want to jump through all of these rings because they open up little shortcuts, like this shortcut here. If I hadn't gone through that ring, that gate would have been down. So we can see here, I got the ring, you can see the gate going up a little bit in the distance. We just want to stay on top of all this. Got to do our 3 laps, and then we can claim victory. So because this is all the same thing, if you have anything more that you would like to say, lovely host, feel free.
Absolutely. As a reminder, we are here raising money for QMUNITY. If you'd like to donate, you can visit our Tiltify campaign at speedromizer.live/donate. You can also find the donation link below the stream and in chat by typing !donate. All of your donations are sent directly to community, and also when you're donating, don't forget to put your money towards our active challenges and polls. We currently have a poll open for Resident Evil 3 to choose the outfit, and there are only 2 more runs left before that poll will close. Donations in now.
Cool, thank you. So yeah, we're on the final round now, and I do want to say that there is an out of bounds for this too, which speeds up the race by an amount of time. I want to say, like, it's not terribly long. I wanted to say it was like 40 seconds or so, which I guess actually, considering that I expect to do this like 340 or something like that, it's nothing to scoff at for sure. But I was never able to even initiate it. You have to like take a jump off of the first ramp with like enough speed and at the right angle that you land on something you're not supposed to land on, you know, and then continue on that way. But I was never able to replicate it, so. And there we go, yeah. Oh, sorry. I meant 240, not 340. This is not an amazing time. I didn't mean to say a whole minute longer. But we got our 1,000 ducats from that, so that's good. And this one actually just launches us straight into the next mission, the next area. So here, here's where the pain begins, basically. This level's not so bad. The one after it, I despise. So here is going to be a lot of out of bounds, which is great because otherwise this level is really long. And the out of bounds on this level is typically not so bad. There can be times where if you're not careful and you don't follow a specific route, things won't load and you'll just be, you know, horrifically lost. But yeah, we swim against that bit of texture until we get above, you know, everything. We're gonna follow this pipe, go around this bit of land, over this pipe, continue to follow this pipe, swim around this, keep going around, reconnect with the pipe, and kind of swimming along it so that things will load. Because I know that otherwise I could have like cut corners, but yeah. And then along this bit, keep going, and then here something should spawn beneath us, and there we go. The end is right up ahead, thank goodness. This makes this level so much faster, so we just want to clip in here, and there we go. This one though, I hate it. I hate this level, I hate this level, I hate this level. So, we have to do another out of bounds thing, but it's blind, and it is very sensitive to the angle, and there's not a great visual reference. If you're playing this on the console version, there is a visual reference, and it's so much easier, but here, I'm just gonna do my best. So I have to go toward this thing right here, but slightly to the right. And now we wait a couple minutes and see. We want to stick close to this, but we want to stay above it. Like, it's fine if we dip below it, but by the end we want to stay above it. And yeah, ideally what'll happen is that a pipe will suddenly appear in front of us a little bit below, and then we'll go up, and then we'll go down, and then we'll go in a ship, and we'll be at the end. But as you can see, the only visual reference we have at this point is this like film of, you know, like fog or like ghostly water. And so we won't know until, or like we won't know whether or not I got the angle right until either the thing I'm looking for appears, or we just decide it's been too long, it should have worked by now, and then we have to just restart the level. So that's why I despise it. Because every time that you 3 minutes that you've lost, it's absolutely a run killer. And there is one other way to do this. It's a different setup that I have a lot more trouble initiating than like this setup, or this out of bounds. But I can't get the ending to it right, which of course is the most important part. So technically I've had more consistency with this method But am I consistent with it? Absolutely not. So I'm gonna wait a little bit longer. And we're gonna see if anything happens. But then if not, we're gonna exit to main menu and then jump back in, and it'll put us back like right into this mission without us having to re-enter that like central lobby area. So I'm thinking at this point that we did not make it. So I think I'm going to, yeah, go back to the main menu, jump back in, and we're gonna try again and hope for better results. So if you would like to remind people of what they can do, feel free. Or read anything else that you'd like.
I can certainly do that here.
Thank you.
If you're joining us here, this is Speedromizer, and it is a charity marathon with a twist. The game you submit is not the game that you will run. The runners are randomly assigned a game from someone else and have 90 days to learn their respective game. If that sounds like an awesome concept to you, make sure to join our Discord at speedromizer.live/Discord for updates on future events. And as a reminder, we are out here raising money for QMUNITY. QMUNITY's mission is to improve queer, trans, and two-spirit lives through support, connection, and leadership. They envision vibrant, diverse, and celebrated queer and trans communities where individuals are empowered to live their lives fully, free from discrimination. Thanks to your support, QMUNITY is able to ensure that no one in British Columbia gets left behind. So make sure to type !donate in chat to get the direct link to our Tiltify.
Yeah, thank you to all those of you who have supported the cause so far. It's an awesome one. And thank you to all those of you who will or are considering it. Or, you know, of course, if you can't, just tuning in, that's awesome too. So right now we're hoping that this angle was better. I think it's still possible because not enough time has elapsed to tell me otherwise, as far as I know. But it's very sensitive just because of how far out you have to travel, and like the window for whether or not the thing will spawn, like it's so small. But like if you do this out of bounds, it does save several minutes over actually like doing the level. It's just so inconsistent. The nice thing, like I said, on console, the retail version, there's this little like, basically a little rock that you can see in the distance, just a tiny little thing that you can aim for, and that'll take you, you know, to where you need to go. But here it's just a void. So it's very tricky. Definitely at this point leaning toward trying again. I'll admit, part of the issue is that even if you were just to like bail on the out of bounds and do the level itself, the level itself isn't easy. Like it's a lot of it though, as you can see, we're riding this little missile, right? And at this point I will back out. I do think enough time has passed. Riding this little missile, and so our speed is set. You know, we can only move forward, and like of course we can turn, but there's no reverse, there's no slowing down, there's no speeding up. And so it's essentially on rails. Just, you know, in a wacky sort of way. And if you go through the level the normal way, there are a lot of like really like tight turns, or like doorways will suddenly appear, or enemies, and like, you know, if you run into an enemy, like you just explode because you're riding a torpedo. Okay, that angle, it looks better to me. So fingers crossed. Gonna adjust my camera so I can get closer to this without going beneath it. We're gonna ride forward, and we're gonna hope that this one works. But yeah, this game has been a lot of fun to learn. I've really enjoyed, you know, just like all of the tricks that are involved. Obviously, I'm not perfect at them, but the way that people figure them out and like optimize them to such an extent, in like the top ranked runs, and like more things keep being discovered and all of that. Like, it's really cool. And when you do pull something off, oh, it feels good. It really does. So there is a lot of stress to a lot of this game, you know, with this one being the biggest one for me, just because it's so finicky, it's so fine. But yeah, when you do something right, it's really satisfying. Okay, this is what we want. We did it. We're finally here. So this spawned in, so now we get to go up and above this plane. And then we have to adjust our camera ahead of time. And then we're gonna carefully go down beneath the plane of water. If we don't adjust our camera ahead of time, we will not be able to get it beneath the water after the torpedo goes down, and we would be going through blindly, and I've exploded. We drive over this, and the level's complete. Oh, okay, now the boss of this area. Thank goodness we were able to do it that time. Okay. Though now that we're here, I hate this boss as well. It's a similar thing. We can only move forward and then like up and down. We can't slow down, and you know, we can't like turn around or go backwards. We can speed up. If we hold left or L1, that menu will pop up and we'll move faster to the right. So like in the case where I missed that and I need another chance to start shooting at it, I can hold L1 and I'll get back to it faster. But still, like ideally, you wouldn't need to do that. And it's such a shame too that it was like one hit away, of course. Turtle Friend comes. We would be much more familiar with Turtle Friend if we were playing these levels normally. It's all about like breaking turtles out of cages, and then there are all these doors with perfect turtle like imprints, and the turtles, they'll like swim with you and then put themselves in those imprints, and it'll open the doors, and then you can progress, you know? But with the out of bounds, aside from the very first turtle that we saw in a cage, there's been like none of that, obviously, so. Might be kind of weird to see him like delivering me hearts and things like that, but it's cool, we're friends, just trust me. So we have to do this 3 times. Shoot all the tentacles, deliver a torpedo to his underbelly, or his mouth, or whatever you want to think, right? And then shoot all the little pink things, which I don't know what they are. Are they babies of some sort? Maybe. But Turtle Guy will come help us again. Do another torpedo. And then more of those pink things. It's just the reason that I don't like this boss, like thematically it's fine, whatever. I definitely don't like it just because I'm not good at it. But the fact that you have so little control, like the only way to aim your gun is by swimming up and down. And so it's not fast, it's not smooth, or like super easy to tell where your aim is going to be, like where the bullets are going to end up. The bullets themselves, like you see I can spam for a good bit, and then I'll be able to shoot like 1-2 pellets at a time. So it can seem inconsistent. And it leaves me wondering like whether I should be aiming for the tentacle that's like closest to me or the one farther away, because, you know, depending on like how many bullets I have and like the travel speed, one might be better in one moment than the other, that kind of thing. But ultimately it's fine. It is just one that I've had like dramatically different times on. Just kind of whether I got lucky or, you know, particularly skillful one day as far as like aiming the little shots. But see, there he goes, the third torpedo. And then he goes up into that fan and just explodes. So, Octopus is down. And now from here, that's the guy, by the way, that sailor, we need to pay the 3,000 ducats to. Otherwise, he's guarding the gate, won't let us into the shipyard. Yeah. But we need to go down here, talk to our other friend, the Pelican. He's gonna take us to the island. So, spring auf meinen Rücken, and we get to go to the tropics. And this is another one that I think has some really cool skips that I've learned, but you know, whether or not I can pull them off, that's another thing. So I'm gonna do my best. But yeah, as you can see, we're starting off by actually riding on his back, and this will happen a few times. When you're riding on him, you can flap his wings up to 5 times, and you have to do it in rapid succession. You would think maybe you should save your flaps, right? Be a little bit more like sparing with it, a little bit more strategic. But if you like space them out, then the flaps do almost nothing. You have to put them together if you actually want to like fly with them. You know what I mean? So you want to make sure that you're not starting your jumps too early so that, you know, with your 5 flaps, you can actually make it to whatever platform you're going to. And ideally, yeah, just not falling into the water because that is instant death. And we're good. Grabbing this checkpoint, running away from that sailor, because we don't have to fight him. This bridge will come up. And here we go. And yeah, it looks like we're doing really well on money. Because ultimately, we just need to get 2,000 at the end of this, not this particular stage, but this area. And only being 101 away now, I think we should be just fine. So that's good. Oh, and this wing cap reminded me, this is the stage where we specifically needed the 50 stars to get the hover. And we'll be seeing that right here. This is going to be where there's going to be a string of the really cool tricks. And we'll see how well it goes. So here we're going to jump across here, use our hover cap. So, you know, we just float downward. We can't do anything to go back up. And instead of the expected route, we're going to go this way. Not supposed to be up here. Definitely not supposed to be down here. And I pressed A, but it didn't jump. So we're gonna try that again and hope that my input will listen. It's one of those things, I think, where just if you touch like the bittiest bit of a slope or whatever, you know, there's just some sort of geography that will just eat your input, because it's actually right here that it happens all the time to me. Like, once again, right there. But what we're going to want to do is we want to jump, end up beneath that little overhang that we can see, and then jump again. We can't really run it into the overhang or it won't work. And then we're going to be landing on an invisible platform. Ah! Didn't jump again. There we go. So I didn't get quite far enough or high enough. It's one of the tricky things because you can't hit that overhang, but if you're pulling back too much, like in fear of that, right? Then you're not going to have the distance that you need. Let's see if we can do it again. Oh. Please jump. Please jump. So no, I thought that one was gonna be fine. Even though I know I brushed my head a little bit. When I was saying like if you hit the overhang it doesn't work, I didn't mean like it would turn off the platform on the other side. More just, I thought it would be enough to kill your momentum, but I thought I was fine there. Okay. The issue is I don't want to turn the time over because, okay, fine. We're here. Hopefully I don't immediately fall into the water again. Gonna line up with that-ish. Line our feet up with the edge of that river. Start hopping up. Once we get to the slope, jump. Double jump again. Glide as far as we can. Okay, right here. Jump over to this wall. Oh, that's not how that was supposed to go. Oh. It was so close to being perfect. I don't know what it was that I ran into. I don't think I've ever had that happen to me before. So, it's nice when you can discover new little things about the game during marathons. It's always something to look forward to. But we're gonna see if we can get this going again. It would definitely be faster at this point just to do the thing. But I hope y'all don't mind that I want to show you the cooler stuff where you're like walking on air and whatnot. So we'll keep going for it. After I land this, because we were just about at the end of this skip, there is another really cool, really finicky one. But at least that one has a checkpoint between this one and that. So we should be good. Okay, gliding over here. Because it's just a winding pathway here that you're standing on. Oh no, so I went too far. So you're not safe, evidently. Neither side, like whether you're on the right or the left, it doesn't hug the wall. It's just kind of, you know, floating in the air. So it's tricky. And to anyone who runs this game, I'm so sorry that I'm probably butchering all of like the setups that you have. There are specific things about, you know, roll this many times here, etc. Line up with this. but I was never able to get the setups consistent. Okay, but once we're here, I can just get around the corner, glide over here. No. Okay, I think I know what's happening at the very least. I must be ending up in another tunnel that we can't see. Which again, unfortunately, never happened to me in my practices. All right. Just to make progress, I will do this part as normal. I apologize, but you for the most part got to see it. The only thing that was missing at that point was that once I hugged that wall, ideally there just would have been a little ledge that I was standing on, and then I would have just like jumped backwards, flown down, and hit an invisible spring. It would have brought me up to the next part. Here, now that we got this. So this is, more or less how you're intended to do this part. Ride this thing up instead of going out of bounds over there. And then we're gonna be riding this barrel down. So, appropriately named. The other thing is the barrel skip, if you ever want to look into that later. Here we're riding the barrel down as usual, knocking spiders out along the way, just so they don't deal too much damage to us. But ultimately, shouldn't be an issue. Kind of just something for you to do on this trek while you're in a barrel. But what I think it was I was getting caught somewhere in like those walls. But yeah, we take that spring, and now here, this is where we would have ended up after the end of that. So we're gonna grab this checkpoint. Now we're gonna try this other skip. Hopefully I'll have better luck with this one. We're going to first jump back up here, glide back onto this tree, and then if it would please jump off of the tree instead of just falling. Go around this edge, loop back a little bit because we need to pass a certain wall for this guy to spawn. We're gonna ride him again. You remember our pelican friend. Have him fly over this treadmill, over here. The reason we do the whole tree thing is it skips a trigger for lava to start coming up. And hopefully I passed a trigger right there. We're gonna see pelican flying just up there once he goes above that platform. Now we're gonna walk forward. We're gonna suddenly spawn up on top of him. We're gonna go back there, because that's another, like, triggering spawn point. And now, we touch this pelican, and we beat the level. Okay. It's a shame I couldn't get the barrel skip. I basically got it. I was at the last step. But I'm glad I got that basically first try, because that one typically had been the harder one for me to pull off. So, I'm pleased with myself. Okay, here, we have another skip. Normally, you're supposed to just keep going straight. But instead, if we jump up here and then glide, thank you. We have to land precariously on one of these beams here. But the geometry, it doesn't expect you to do that, so it can be a little tricky. Okay, but now that we're here, gonna look over there to line up, jump as far and glide as far as we can. I was not quite far enough. We were very close. But just behind that wall is a spring, which, if we go forward and all the way around, that's ultimately where you'll end up. So we're gonna line up there. No, I don't think that was good enough. Hold on. Come on. Yes, okay. So the tail swing was enough to get through the wall, hit the spring, activate it, send you flying. Second try, I'll take second try. More or less second try. The setup was a bit botched, but that's fine. Now, we don't have a lot of skips that I know too soon, I don't think. So it's mostly just some platforming. So if you have anything that you would like to read, by all means.
Certainly, I have some more information about QMUNITY here. QMUNITY is British Columbia's queer, trans, and two-spirit resource center, providing a safe space for two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersexual, and asexual folks and their allies. They improve the lives of their communities and provide them with support through an array of programs and services, like its youth, senior and older adults, counseling, employment, and informational and referral programming and services. They help connect folks through volunteer opportunities and peer support groups. QMUNITY also provides education services and queer inclusivity training through publications, one-on-one consultations, and interactive workshops.
Thank you. Yeah, so this part, you just pick up these fish in the blue bubbles, and then it like refills the 5 flaps that you have available to you. I have lost there. Like, I've just missed a flap. Didn't quite hit the bubble. It's always awkward when that happens. Okay, we do have a skip coming up here. And I should be able to do this one first try. I don't want to jinx myself, but it should be doable. So typically what you're supposed to do, we specifically do not want to grab this checkpoint here. You're supposed to do like a little bit of a... Okay, well that boulder, it's going down, right? You're supposed to race ahead of it and activate certain checkpoints before it reaches a certain spot. Since we're clearly not doing that, we're going to get the notification that we didn't make it in time. But since we didn't get that checkpoint, what we can do here is jump over this ledge, and we have to be careful to kind of jump over a trigger, but then this cave is open to us. Normally it wouldn't be. Or normally like it would only be once we finished the boulder race, basically. So we were able to just skip the boulder race, which is nice. Grab that for some ducats, even though I probably don't need them at this point. Here, try to just glide to these pillars and land, and then make it to the checkpoint here, so we avoided some platforming, because avoiding platforming is cool. Wait for that to swing, because my timing was a little weird. And then we're almost done with this particular stage. We just have to round this corner. Inevitably, watch, these crabs are gonna get one hidden. Like every time. We have to beat this guy, and then we have to beat that hot air balloon that's shooting bombs at me. If I time these right, I can keep hitting that guy, as you saw there, before he has a chance to like jump to the side. Otherwise, normally you hit him with a boomerang, he jumps to the side and then keeps shooting you. It can be difficult to time just because, you know, it depends entirely on your distance from him and like how fast you can throw a boomerang or how fast it would travel. But yeah. Right here we have the temple to explore. There's a really cool out of bounds that covers like, I swear, half of this level. I unfortunately was not able to learn it at all. Like I've never been able to do it successfully, even the beginning part. So again, highly recommend that you go and check out, you know, like a veteran runner of this game, because there's a lot of cool stuff that I was not able to do. Okay, so I'm encountering a glitch that I've had happen before. Typically you jump in this box and you're supposed to be able to turn it. And it's not wanting to turn. And the reason that's an issue... Okay, there we go. Maybe that's it. Maybe I need to hit start back out while in that. But we need to use the box to pass through those like fields of electricity. Otherwise, just... We can't. So... Glad it worked out in the end. I was getting concerned. Okay, watch that as it opens. A lot of these pots have like a secret little enemy in them, and they'll smack you. And I think I'm one hit away from death right now, so I really don't want to get smacked. So I'm gonna hope that I can avoid them. I'm gonna try to be a little more careful too about some of these openings. But if I can get this checkpoint, yeah, all's right with the world. Grabbing that heart just to be safe, because there are, you know, more enemies along the way for sure. Like this little scorpion dude. He's mean. And now just continuing onward. Oh, I was actually considering talking about that, and I was like, I don't need to mention it. And then it happened. There are cracks in the floor, and like even if you could safely walk over them, I swear if you roll, it'll suck you in. And that's what happened there, I'm pretty sure. So unfortunate, but whatever. Okay, this I think is the penultimate like purple kangaroo hoppy segment in the game. Lots of lava. There's gonna be some obstacles that we have to jump over, like fallen pillars. And at one point, we have to like jump from one track to another, which doesn't usually happen. So I think it's kind of a tricky one. But you can see we have 2005 ducats right now, so that's good. We have as many as we need. Like ultimately we need 3,000. I don't know why that jump didn't work. Ultimately we need 3,000, but we're going to be getting 1,000 guaranteed at the end of this section. So as far as the coins are concerned, we don't need to worry about that anymore. So that is all well and good. And actually, when that part comes up, it'll be pretty cool. I'll spoil it ahead of time just because I might as well talk about it while doing this part again. But each section has had a boss stage at the end of it, right? Or not each stage, but like each area, you know? And this one is no exception. But in the run, we actually get to skip it. Just due to kind of like a little technicality. So the main part of the game is like we need 3,000 ducats in order to bribe the sailor to let us into the shipyard so that we can confront the poacher, right? Well, at the end of this, no, that was the part I meant we needed jump tracks. At the end of this, we'll have our 3,000 ducats. And so we'll be able to, bribe the sailor, move on, no problem. And so, as soon as we like claim the 1,000 ducats from the end of this stage, we could just like back out of the game, load back in, go back to the central hub, and if we like look at the level select screen, we'll see that like the boss stage for this area is actually still locked because technically we won't have actually like finished this stage, but we'll be able to move on to the stages after the boss stage. And since that's not something that I would be visually exploring, I've never failed this one so many times. My apologies. I wanted to talk about it while we're here. So yay. Okay, I'm going to just commit to focus for this one because it's not even like a difficult part. But I guess I'm probably just jumping too early. Part of what makes it more difficult on like secondary pass-throughs, or however you want to refer to it, is that normally you have a coin trail to guide you along. But since I've already been through this part, it's gone. Okay, but now you see how close we were to the end of that segment. Such a shame that we failed that one time, but oh well. Moving on. Glide over here, and then we start smacking this dude with boomerangs. There we go. So the bee is freed, opens the door for us. Get to continue forward. Got another guy up here. We got to smack with boomerangs. I'm trying to time it well so that his like iframes don't activate. He doesn't jump. Knock the spider out before it causes trouble, because they can be surprisingly problematic. Like sometimes definitely for health, because like their spit does hurt you, but oftentimes just because it knocks you back or like makes you staggered. It's a whole thing. But up ahead here we have an elevator. We'll jump up onto it. Then we have a sailor. And then after we get through that door, that's where we're going to be playing this little like crane minigame. And that's ultimately what's going to net us the last 1,000 ducats that we need. So while I'm over here, I'm gonna try to take him out. Because if I get too close, a spider will spawn. and then it'll be shooting me while I'm throwing boomerangs, and that's not good. Okay, here we have the crane minigame. I have to get 20 golden chests, and then we'll be good. But while I do this, if you would like to read anything more, by all means. If not, you don't have to.
I can certainly keep going here.
Okay.
More about QMUNITY. They are a province-wide resource center that delivers programs and services to anyone with a two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersexual, and asexual community in need of support and connection. Regardless of age, location, and circumstance, their organization is there to ensure queer, trans, and two-spirit people can find low-barrier access to mental health resources, peer support, information, referrals, and more. QMUNITY was built by and for queer, trans, and two-spirit communities in 1979. Today, their leadership continues to create and build an organization that supports everyone in their community across British Columbia through support, connection, and leadership. And as a reminder, you can type !donate to donate to QMUNITY through our Tiltify link.
So here we are saying, here's your gold, take it and open the gate and let me in. But as you saw, yeah, we finished the crane game, and before it could like fade out to like level complete kind of thing, we basically selected, take a break, return to the main menu. Immediately hit continue, and then it would have loaded us back into that very same stage. So we just said, please, take me back to the lobby. Started us there. We had our 3,000 ducats, so we were able to move on. And now this is the final section, the final area of the game. Not the final stage, but the final area. So we're getting really close now. I want to time this jump so I can get up here. And grab this spring early. Time it so I can avoid this guy. Jump over here. Jump on this barrel. Jump over this. Land. Hit that. And then we're moving forward. Okay, here's another super simple trick that sometimes works out really well. And sometimes takes me some attempts. So we're supposed to like go off into that little cave to the left, do some things. Instead, we're gonna try to jump, glide, and boomerang over this. Thank goodness. See, one of those things. Sometimes takes me minutes, sometimes first try. Not out of the woods quite yet. We have another thing up here that similarly like has been my nemesis on some runs. Just destroyed some of my runs, and sometimes it's perfectly fine. So we're gonna jump here, go around this. First try, okay, so look, I've gotten some things that otherwise would have, done me bad in the past. And as you can see, the map isn't loaded here, so we're kind of we're just trusting. We're heading toward the sailor dude, because I figure if he's on that land, I can be on that land, We got a checkpoint that was invisible, so that's pretty cool. And this is the last kangaroo bouncing section of the whole game. Normally, you would see a big old pirate ship shooting cannonballs at us, but the pirate ship was never loaded in. So things are it looks like things are randomly exploding. But no, it's because we're being targeted. So gotta be uber careful, because there's intent there. But here, we're at the end of that. Continue forward, grab this checkpoint. Slightly faster, we'll just jump up onto this. Okay, it's faster if I don't mess up. Glide across, and here we are at the bottom of the pier. Again, normally there's a ship loaded in there, but we just didn't have it loaded in. So now we're in the final stage, aside from the boss fight, of this game. Oh, it's so dark on my screen. So we just need to navigate our way through to the end. Now that we're actually on the ship, we can save our animal friends, which was, like the whole point of this game. So we need to find where they are being caged, like right here, and then find the switches that'll set them free. So now that we know where they are and what the situation is, cool. Cow has his task. Gonna let those swing away from me. Not gonna worry too much about it. Whoop. Activate this. So our first buddy's free. And that swinging potato, just have to avoid him. Here, there's a cooler way to do this, but I'm so bad at doing it consistently, so I'm gonna try to do cooler than normal, but not as cool as that way. No, I didn't grab onto the ledge because I was still hovering. Okay, we're gonna try that again. Thankfully, at least there is a checkpoint right there. So one more time over here, because normally you're supposed to like grab onto that net and then, you know, climb your way over. But you can do that instead, and that's cooler. So here I'm gonna try. Oh, I did not mean to go above that. Safely get down here, activate that, climb up here. Now the nice thing about this, like you're kind of supposed to dodge the barrels, but as long as you're doing the roll tail whip thing, you destroy any barrels that come into contact with you. So as long as the timing isn't very, you know, poor, it's pretty much just fine. And that area was just the same, except there were spikes, so not a big deal. Okay, jump over, please. Activate this. Set our pelican friend free. And now we're through this door. This is our parrot buddy. He's been talking to us now and then. You can see him flying around on the main menu. And he is in the final cage that, well, ordinarily we would like set free. But we're technically going to leave him because it's faster to do that. So we wanna look over here. We wanna get up here. We wanna look this way. Glide onto his cage. Say it's so good to see you, but I'm in a hurry. Fly over here and then leave. Ordinarily, he's supposed to help you along. Other platforms are supposed to come, but because we can jump from like that edge of the window onto the top of his cage, etc. Yeah, a lot faster to do that. And it's actually pretty easy once you learn a really like easy setup for it. I mean, I feel that I can say that because there's still a lot of things I struggle with, but I can get that one almost every single time, so yeah. Here we're fighting the poacher himself, finally. He is riding in this hot air balloon, and there's not much that we can do about that. We just gotta chuck boomerangs at him. So there are, you know, heart spawns, there are boomerang spawns. If you line it up with him, he crosses the same diagonals every time. So after you hit him a few times, you know that he's going to be going across that diagonal. And so if you can position yourself ahead of him, then you can be dealing damage even when you're not really supposed to be dealing damage. So after we do one more cycle of this, there we go. Not even a full cycle. Yeah, he'll come, he'll pick us up, which I think is remarkable. He's very strong. I'm proud of him. And he'll drop us off here, and we have to hurry before these bombs destroy these walkways. Now you might think, well, I bet a speedrunner doesn't have to worry about this at all. Going fast, that's their, I was about to mix hobby with passion and say habby. And yeah, ordinarily I think that's correct, but I have died here so many times. And if you die on this part, like just falling into the water, or if your health were low enough and like the bombs killed you, you would actually end up back at the beginning of that first phase. So here, we go around in front of him because I know that he's going to start running this way. Oh, by the way, time in now. Yeah. You know which way he's going to be running, and so if you just get ahead of him, he'll insist on running in that line. You could just keep pelting him with boomerangs, which is, it's fun. But as you can see, he has had a taste of his own medicine. He's in a cage. His gun has been dropped into the ocean. And we did it, you know? He's stranded on a tiny little island. Someone might pick him up, hopefully. Like, maybe he'll have a redemption arc down the line. But this was Cow the Kangaroo round 2. I don't think I met my estimate with how many unfortunate happenstances there were. I'm glad, though, that for the most part, I've been able to show all of the tricks that I did learn. I virtually did show everything because the only one that I didn't get to see through to completion was that the barrel skip. And instead I encountered things that I had personally never encountered before, so at least it was a marathon first for me kind of thing. Again, it's fun to learn, and it feels really good to to play, like when you're doing it right, like when you can get those movements down, those out of bounds, those tricks. It's really, really cool. And it's really cool to see them done by someone who really knows how to do them well. So again, if you had any interest in this run, I highly encourage you to check out some of the top runs of Cow the Kangaroo Round 2. There are way more tricks that I did not even mention, other mechanics that I didn't even mention. Like there's a quadruple jump that like really good people can pull off. It's like a frame perfect thing, and it opens up other out of bounds or things like that. So definitely give those a check out if you're at all interested. But yes, I'm Riz Grestar. This has been Cow the Kangaroo Round 2. Thank you, Speedromizer, for having me, and I'm good here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. A really fun run. GG's. I love seeing all of the tricks. And with that, we will head to a short break here, but don't go anywhere.
Absolutely.